One, two, three. Surprise.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you for being here tonight to celebrate Tony Brown's career and retirement. My name is Eva, and Tony Brown is my father. I think I have the unique position of being loved and supported by the Mehlville band family from even before my birth. Then, once I was born, I became an automatic member of the Mehlville band. Marching band competitions, rehearsals, band trips, and concerts seemed like part of a normal childhood to me, but maybe it wasn't. However, it was always exciting, always a little crazy, and definitely special. I couldn't wait to play a band instrument and to be an actual band member. The past 7 years as a French horn player in the band program has been even more exciting, crazier, and even more special than I could have ever imagined. My dad has been at the center of these high school years, not just for me, but for thousands of students over the last 33 years from Mehlville. For those of you who have had my dad as a band director, take a minute to think about what it would be like to live with Mr. Brown. My dad is a complex guy. All of us have probably had a wide range of feelings and or emotions about him at some point. I've had this same wide range of thoughts about him at various times in my life. These phrases and stories that you hear during band has been main themes throughout my entire life. Every day is a school day, and lessons never end. Give a man a fish and he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish and he eats for a lifetime. Means me, Eva starts doing her laundry in kindergarten. Prepare for war in a time of peace means Eva gets a lot of snacks when dad goes grocery shopping and steals them from his room. The possibilities of troubles of digestion during travel is discussed for weeks before any trip, and the magical benefits of water are preached every day. Any sort of sickness in our house can be blamed on lack of water. This also means that I grew up feeling like I could do hard things. I could be independent because I was taught how to be. I also knew that if I forgot to charge my phone or bring a water bottle, my dad would have a variety of chargers to offer me, and at least 4 water bottles in a little lunchbox. By the way, all of these water bottles and lunchboxes, they were in our house, were all left in the band room, and my students, my dad would excitedly bring them home to clean and claim. My dad is a pusher. He can be hard on people, but he's also hard on himself. He's a problem solver who can't wait to be involved in some kind of problem. He's always honest, but does not sugarcoat things. This isn't always as fun as it sounds, but it does mean growing up knowing that your dad will do anything to help you. It means knowing that my dad's inner circle, his circle of trust, has a love that is deep and long-lasting. However, if someone in the circle of trust betrays him, the grudge can be deeper and longer-lasting. I'm proud of my dad and the passion that he's shown throughout his career. I'm thankful to have been a part of it. So tonight, we celebrate him and give thanks to all the lessons he has given us. Thank you.
Sitting in the Mehlville band room. The black band chairs are arranged in 4 straight lines. I'm a junior in high school. I'm in the chair closest to the double doors. You can picture it, right? By the trash can. Sitting with my high school boyfriend, eating some cheese fries for lunch. I see a man walking down the stairs into the band room. He has curly, longish hair, wire-rimmed glasses, and is wearing what he says is a burgundy suit. I remember it as an eggplant-colored suit. Either way, it is an unusual color for a suit. He walked through the band room doors and scanned the room, scrunching up his face a bit as he looked around. He was carrying a pleather folder in his hands. Oh, just like the one he's got tonight. Look at that. I knew who he was. He was an alumni from Mehlville who would come back when he was on college breaks to work with the marching band and do clarinet sectionals. But here was our first conversation. Hi, can I help you? Do you need anything? Him. No, I'm good. Me. Well, if you're looking for Mr. K, he's up in the office doing interviews today, but, oh, you know that. Do you want to sit in the band office while you wait? Him. No, I'm good. Thanks. And then he turned around and walked back up the steps. End scene. But it wasn't an end. Something sizzled in my brain and said, be alert. There's something important that's going to happen here. It wasn't romantic or lustful, at least yet. It was just a feeling that I knew Tony Brown, being the band director at Mehlville High School, was going to change me. That was the day he interviewed for the job at Mehlville. And what we thought for a long time was our first conversation. A few years ago, however, we actually discovered that we'd actually had a conversation my freshman year of high school, his junior year of college, which involved my broken toe and my declaration of beauty of Johnson shut-ins. I kept going on and on about Johnson shut-ins. He backed away slowly from me, mid-conversation, and thought to himself, God, that girl talks a lot. Years later, he realized that was me, and he said, wait, I married the Johnson shut-ins girl? Why, yes, you did. This is the final event for the past 2 weeks of celebrating Tony Brown and all he's done for the Mehlville Band program. At the senior farewell concert, the symphonic band premiered the piece that we had commissioned for Tony's retirement, Grit and Grace by Andrew Boyson Jr. At the concert, I introduced the piece and talked about its conception. The harmonic structure of the piece was based off of a call and response spiritual called Everywhere I Go, There Are Angels There. The lyrics say, everywhere I go, there's an angel there. Everywhere I turn, there's an angel there. All around my home, there are angels there. Because my God never leaves me alone. Tony thinks his life has been lucky. I personally think there have been unremarkable moments in life when someone, let's call them an angel, makes a decision and it sets things on a different path. Tony's life has been a series of angels living in past, guiding him and changing his life one moment at a time. In turn, these angels have affected us. We can look back at so many moments where serendipity changes courses and changes lives. The piece, Grit and Grace, is beautiful, and the kids did a great job with it. We debated playing it for you tonight, but in the interest of time, we decided that you all really just need more time to visit and reminisce. Also, we're unsure as to the length of Tony's speech. And the kids do have curfews. So we'll keep sending out the link to the concert. Please watch and listen. And thank you to everyone who donated to the commission for Andrew Boyson Jr. It's something that can never end. The music will live on in the performances of bands around the world. And when they read the inscription for Tony Brown in honor of his retirement from the Mehlville High School band program, hopefully they'll have some inkling of how special the Mehlville band program is. The Mehlville band program is a bit of an enigma to people. Most people wouldn't and don't expect the amazing things, the amazing music that comes out of that smelly, crusty band room. Most people in fancier communities with really nice, fresh band rooms will look at the zip code our kids come from and they'll write them off. They'll say they're Hoosiers. They'll say, those immigrant kids. Fill in the blank. You know what they say about us. What Tony has done with our band program is to accept no excuses. We're not going to complain about what we don't have here. We could complain all day, and a lot of people in Mehlville do. It's a waste of time. Instead, we're going to figure out how to get it. And then we're going to do it better than the people in those fancier communities. We're going to take our gritty, salt-of-the-earth kids and teach them to use that chip on their shoulder to show people what hard work, commitment, and love can do. And that is the Tony Brown trademark. You can't buy that. You can't even really teach it. You just have to live it. When I was thinking about the centerpieces for tonight, I really like cacti. And I was like, why do I like them? Like, what's the deal? And I started looking up, what does a cactus mean? And so you guys have a little card on your table. And it says the cactus. So I looked this up, like when I was just kind of brainstorming. The cactus is a symbol of abundance in dire conditions and the ability to thrive in adversity. And if that doesn't describe the Mehlville band program, I don't know what does. Also, you could add more symbolism to it. You could say, handle it carefully, like you have to handle Tony carefully, or he can be a bit of a prick sometimes, So you can go lots of places with that. But we're going to say the cactus is a symbol of abundance in dire conditions and the ability to thrive in adversity. I have been secretly dreading this retirement party for about the last 15 years. Dreaming for the Mehlville Band program with my best friend every day for the last 30 years has been irreplaceable. We have been able to just look at each other across the band room and know exactly what the other was thinking. Building a team of colleagues, many of whom are alumni, and growing a solid circle of trust has been something we couldn't really imagine 30 years ago. I have not wanted it to end, but it's not an ending. It's changing, it's evolving, it will never be the same. But the core values of working hard to make things better and the love that has been brought into this program, our very own grit and grace, will live on. That is Tony's legacy to us. So please welcome to the podium, Tony Brown.
Thank you, guys. Have a seat. Thank you. Don't worry, it might be kind of long. You should have saved that for a little later when you needed to break. So for sure. Also, they're bringing out dessert and stuff. So please, if you guys want some dessert, don't hold off because we're here. So go and get some. And I'm just gonna ramble. So this has been kind of a weird speech to prepare for because there's a gamut of emotions, there's a gamut of things, and always your last moment, you always want to live it well. So I don't know if I'm going to do what I had hoped and planned, but I'm gonna do my best. So there are some people that have been instrumental in helping things happen, and some of this just kind of happened by surprise for me. So Emily Goebel took me on as a class project. And she's not in psychology. That would have been a good choice, but she's doing a photography class. So she was taking pictures of the band and put together a whole booklet that I hope you guys get a chance to see, and had this whole display, and it really was humbling, and I told her this the night that they were premiering it, that I don't feel worthy of somebody capturing these things in this moment. So, but where's Emily in the room somewhere? So please thank Emily for doing the work that she's done. So the band commission was something I was not really in favor of initially, because to me what's helped make the difference in our program is having money, resources, and those things. So I was not really in favor of doing it. Obviously Jen's in charge, like she's going to be in charge the next few years. So she said, no, we need to do it, and let's just see if people would be willing to help. And I loved the piece when we got it. And I had a 2-hour conversation with Boysen, and I didn't pick the title. He's known me we've worked together with Boysen probably 25 years. We've had some interactions and connections. Many of you all in here who were in band, raise your hand if you played an Andrew Boysen piece, because I have loved his music. And the thing about him, when you meet him, in fact, there's some of you on here when Boysen, we brought him out. Do you have anybody in here? A couple people. So Boysen is just the most easygoing, sweet guy, but then he would write the most aggressive, just powerful. And I said to him, I said, Andy, where do you find this place? Because you write just this angry, and I just love it. And he said, and I said, you're easygoing? He goes, well, I have a lot of issues and they run really deep. And he's just a Midwestern Iowa boy, grew up and just had this phenomenal career. When we're going to Boston, if any of you guys were on that trip, we were going to Boston, we were going to go see him in University of New Hampshire. And then COVID destroyed all of that. So it was unfortunate, but we have been connected to him still. And the Grit and Grace was a title that he created. I don't know why he assembled that idea. Just in our conversation, and I do have a sense of being very lucky. I'm off script, I haven't even gotten on my script yet. But I do have a sense of being very lucky. Okay, thanks. There's always a heckler. Sammy, used to be quiet. That's why I kept you on the front row in the flutes. We put Sid in the back row, so sorry, Sid. But I've just been like the luckiest person. There is no reason for me to have had the career and have the opportunities I've had. And I'm difficult to deal with. And I'm sorry, I'm just gonna speak really candidly. I know there's some children in the house, but I saw Vince Viano, my principal, who came up and he came to the band room and I talked to him, and he actually was the principal when I took over as the head director. And I said, hey Vince, I'm really sorry, I was a real asshole. And he goes, oh no you weren't. I go, yes I was. And I go, I just know I had a chip on my shoulder and we were going to do things. And he was okay with it. So, obviously, Jen has been my partner, has been connected to me more than anything. So, me choosing to retire was kind of a difficult decision. In fact, when I first said, hey, we need to look at and talk to like a financial people and stuff, and she started to cry. And she said, I don't want to go, you just go. I go, okay. But there's a lot of talk, and we will do this, and we have done this, about a program. And when you look at what a program is, and this is how we define it, is that you can plug a person into what we do, and this was one of our goals. You plug a person into what we do, and they run through the cycle, and at the end of the cycle, you know the product that they are going to be, and you know the person that they are going to be. So that when we plug people into our program, that is what we look on, and that's what we expect of our people. So what got me to Mehlville? So I grew up in the city. My parents live really close to where I grew up. My wife chooses to live in the city now because she likes old things. I'm 7 years older than her, so thankfully that really helps. But so she likes old houses and those things, and I said, well, maybe we could live closer. No, I want to live in the city. Actually, we can probably get to school a lot quicker than a lot of you all because we don't have any traffic either way. So, my parents are mixed, a mixed marriage. So my mom is white, my dad is black. I came out here in the first year of the DSEC program. Now, Mehlville was socially very behind. I could even argue that they still are as a district, but Mehlville was very socially behind, so they fought the DSEC program, and they tried to fight it in court. Now, luckily, the political climate was very different then. And they said, no, we're not going to divide people. We're going to include people in schooling. We're going to include people in social environments. So they forced Mehlville into complying with the program. Mehlville was the only school district that fought the DSEC program, and they fought it in court. So when we actually got around to signing up for high school, then there were slots open because the state said, you're gonna have to do it. And they said, okay, otherwise they were gonna take away their funding. Now, this is history. This is Mehlville dirty history that they're not gonna tell you. Now, there's one of our board members over here, Ms. Preto. Please welcome Ms. Preto. Wave, Ms. Preto. Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, Ms. Preto. I'm probably going to say some things tonight that, woo. So Mehlville fought this and came into accepting Mehlville kids in the DSEC program reluctantly. Now, one of the things they won't tell you, or they did, but our community probably didn't listen. For every kid that came out here to Mehlville, Mehlville was making a profit off of each kid. Now those numbers changed as year went on, but the first year we were making $3,000 or so per kid profit. So there was a financial incentive for Mehlville to get kids there. Let's say it would take Mehlville $4,000 to educate a kid. And the state would give them 8 or 7. They would give them a number significantly beyond. When you look at improvements that happened in Mehlville, then those improvements came from profit in the DSEC program, especially when we did not pass a tax levy until recently. But the last tax levy before that, I was in high school in '86. I think, let's see, Jim, did you get that uniform? So the uniform before this one, we devised a hippie show. Was there anybody here that was in that hippie show? No? Okay, so I'm outdating myself, but, oh, there we go. Dan was. Good, I got one. So, basically, we were due for uniforms. Oakville got uniforms, we were supposed to get them the next year. And the district told us that it was gonna be 5 years. You were gonna have to wait 5 years. I was like, this is ridiculous. I was the assistant at the time, and I was doing marching band. And I told Kenneth, this is stupid, I'm not gonna do this. So we devised a hippie show. It was a protest show. We put the kids in we took their uniform jacket, we put them in bell bottoms, we had them make bell bottom jeans, it had all kinds of, we had a protest in the show. It was a total up yours. And then the powers that be didn't really like us looking that way, so they didn't let us play the banner. They said, you guys, this is disrespectful. Okay, we won't play the banner then. You just use a tape. That's fine. Then we did the Thanksgiving Day parade, and they still weren't going to give us uniforms. They still weren't going to do that, which they should have. That's what was right. Because basically the way the district was set up, we had the haves over here, which was Oakville, and then we had the have-nots, which was us. So you were the have-not, so you're not going to get that. You wonder why I have such a chip on my shoulder, right? So we said, okay. So we marched to the Thanksgiving Day parade. Somebody, I don't know who it was, to this day, I don't know who it was, contacted the news people and told them the reason that the Mehlville band was dressed the way they were because the district could not afford to purchase uniforms for the band. So this is what the band had to do to be able to participate in this activity. Guess what happened at that next board meeting? I don't need to tell you. They found, it was a miracle. They found money, the band, I got pulled into the office, Mr. Viviano said, here's this money now, shut up about these damn uniforms, okay? I said, yes, sir. I'm quiet now. So we had new uniforms. Guess where that money came from for the uniforms? It came from profit from DSEG money. It came from profit from DSEG money. Nobody told you that. So pushing the district socially to be better actually benefited the band at a time that we should have had the same level playing field to what Oakville had. Now, I'm not here to bash Oakville, I'm not hearing any of that, but that was the horizon at that time. That was how we functioned. We functioned at a level of dysfunction. So when I told Viviana what I said, the reason was because I was acting in an environment that needed to have change. Now, what brought me to Mehlville was the DSEC program. What has kept me at Mehlville is the people. Now, I'm off script, so this is really bad. I mean, I worked for hours on this, but that's all right. You guys, this is boring. You don't want to hear any of this. So when I came to Mehlville, I came as a football player, and I just kind of happened to play in band. My dad had a clarinet, and I played clarinet, and then when I was in the city schools, they cut a lot of programs. So my dad was a football coach in the city for 9 years. And my dad was a rough football coach. He was an old school coach. I remember going to football practice, because I played football since I was 8. I remember going to football practice and the kid wasn't paying attention, wasn't listening. My dad would grab the kid by the face mask, pull him over there, yell at him, throw him on the ground. Guess what? That kid got up and he did a better job. It's amazing. Some of that old school stuff worked. So that was kind of the house I grew up in. I grew up in kind of this intense, probably borderline abusive. You know, some of y'all in here, you Gen Xers, you know what I'm talking about. You're like, man, looking at it now, man, what was wrong? Sorry, my mom's up here. I'm sorry. Sorry, Mom. I'm just being truthful. So I came to Mehlville and I joined band, I joined the football team, and there was this little man, he was here earlier. He was kind of sitting over there. He's had some tough things. His wife died right before COVID of cancer, and he's with us, but he's not with us. So Don Kennison was my high school band director. Probably some of y'all had Mr. K's band director there. So he is uncomfortable sometimes in large settings. Also, his eyes are going bad, so he doesn't like driving when it's dark. So, but he was here, and hopefully some of y'all got to speak to him that you knew him. And he was amazing because he was like my dad. He was like little. My dad wasn't little, but he was little. But Kennison carried this huge stature. I mean, you thought he was a big dude. He just carried himself in a way with a level of confidence, a level of love, a level of intensity, and I just loved that. I gravitated to that. Probably because that's what I knew at home. Probably there was a little level of dysfunction. His first year, they were watching him because he got mad in rehearsal that there was this wood block that was not working, was broken. And Kennison said, "You mean this is in the entire Mehlville school district? This is the best we can do with this wood block?" And the kid was like, "Yeah." So he took the wood block and threw it on the ground, shattered it to a million pieces. The director of music was watching him. Sorry, Miss Treadlocker, she's over there. She wasn't there, but it was good. She would have been watching him. So he broke the wood block and said, and Mr. Flanagan at the time was the director who said, "Mr. Flanagan, we need a new wood block and make sure this one works." So Mr. Kennison became a person that really was my dad away from home. He was intense, no nonsense, loved music, but would do anything. And we had a loyalty for him that went super deep. Now, I'm glad he's not here because I'm going to tell a story about it. So Mr. Kennison, he was a pimp player, woman slayer. I'm just going to say it. And, oh, you never heard that before? You guys can use that in your own talk. You say, "Wow, pimp player, woman slayer." I heard that from Tony Brown tonight, so I know what's up. But he was. After Kennison, I mean, that guy, he'd have a date in the morning, for breakfast, and by evening have another date. And did not stay a single night at his house for a week. This guy. And I was like a young teacher at the time, and Chad Dalton, who was doing the drum line, we're like, what's up with the old guy over here? He goes, I don't know, he's got something, he's got it. Now you'd see Kenneth, and he was a $105, he wasn't essentially a pretty man, but he had something. He had something, and it just, people gravitated to it. And I told Kennison this, I admitted to him, I said afterwards, after we talked together, I was his assistant for 14 years, I was his high school student, his drum major, and I said, you know what, Kennison, I can tell you this, and he had been retired for a few years. I said, you know, we worked together all this time, you were my teacher, my mentor, and I said, I'm gonna tell you this. I said, I tried every day to out-teach your ass. And I said, I'm sorry if it offends you. Actually, he loved it. Because then that meant you cared enough to use you as the example to be better and do better for the program. And that was our relationship. And Kennison is still close to the band. He is still there, even though he's not always here. He introduced us at MMEA. Those of you guys who were here, he introduced us a couple years ago and was going to introduce us in 2018. Unfortunately, his wife was dying of cancer at that time. So he has been the grandpa that has been around watching. He fought battles to get me here. He fought battles to get Jen here, and so that we could all be together. Probably some of my most fun I ever had teaching was with Kennison. And now, once he retired, we changed the direction of the program. So once he retired, as much as I loved him, I said, we changed the direction. And I had a list of 25 things. This is true. I started making this list a couple years before he retired. I had a list of 25 things that we needed to do and that we needed because at the point which I took over, I gave myself 15 years and I said, we are going to be one of the top programs in the country. And that was my goal. So you guys, in those early years when I took over, if you saw a level of craziness, a level of, what the heck? It's because you don't know this. I'm not going to tell you this, but I wanted you on a path, and this program on a path of being the very best. And that's how I saw it. That's how I saw myself. That's how I saw you. And I wasn't going to tolerate second best. So, sorry, you guys. You know, if you need, I can help you with the therapy bills. Please, I'll be on the couch next to you. So we can work that out. And then somebody's like, whoa, we need to bring some more people in. These people are jacked up. But when we took this program over, there were several things that I needed that were on this list. First off, I needed a team of people that were strong, that we could depend on. Jen was my first person. So we were married. We were married. Were we married? Yeah, we were married. When we took over, we were already married. So well, I got one person on the team. So I needed some more. So we started out with Tom Smith. He moved on. He moved on. And we brought in Lucas and Jimmy. And Lucas and Jimmy, every person who came into the staff, I wanted them to be really young. I wanted them to have, if they had 5 years experience, that was too much for me because I wanted to deprogram whatever they had and whatever they did. And we were going to start over from scratch, and I was just going to beat the living daylights out of them into doing what we wanted them to do. And I did. And I think the BDs were too much for them because they all left for Ladue. And that's okay, we got some more people to beat up now. There's Emily and Jesse, thank you, sorry. And actually, Rob Hardcastle resigned, and we actually hired a new person. Oh, I can't tell you, oh, it's not legal yet. Okay, never mind. So we did hire a new person, and we're very excited about that person. So the team that we had is going to be even better with this new team coming up. So I'm really excited for the future from that aspect. So I gave myself 15 years to make this program to what I considered one of the top programs in the country. So I'm gonna let you on a little secret. We did not make it. So we did not achieve what I had hoped we would achieve or thought we would have, what we could have. And in fact, right now we go to the Midwest Band and Orchestra Convention and I'm angry you can ask, this is true, you can ask my wife about this. Every time I go there, I'm angry because I had envisioned us being there. And that's the selfish part. Now, I'm gonna tell you all this, even though we did not make it to the level that I thought we would, and some of it was vanity, but I just believed in the kids. I believed in the people. I believed we could just run. What we did gain was greater. So we gained community. We gained acceptance. We gained togetherness. Now, as a 57-year-old, looking at the advantages of those voyages, even though we did not achieve what I had envisioned, I am glad that we brought things to that point. I think we developed a program of acceptance. I think we developed a program where it's okay to be different. It's okay to have adversity, and it's okay. And you are still loved, and I'm gonna still yell at you to do better, and it doesn't matter, no excuses. And that's not from a position of anger, I hate you or this, it's from a position because I want you to be better. I want you to find it within yourself to be better than what you thought you could. And that's what Kinnison did for us. That's what Kinnison did for me. I'm still trying to out-teach him, well, not anymore. But I am still trying to out-teach him every day. And so my father died in December, and which has caused me to reflect on myself, reflect on my career, and reflect on my own mortality. My dad had a long history of health conditions and so on, but so he had a stroke when he was 50. And you would not know it to see him. He was in the hospital for 6 months and had to learn how to walk again and so on. But you would not necessarily know that because he was like such a fighter. My dad would like fight with everybody. I think he loved it. It was like a drug. So, sorry, Mom, I'm just telling our household secrets. But one of the things that I reflected on, I didn't really quite realize this, because in preparation for his service, and I had looked these facts up. So my parents were married in August of 1968. And actually, a mixed race marriage was not legal in this country. When you think about this, until June of 1967. So there were places that a mixed race couple could go that would be illegal, and theoretically they could have been arrested. And there were probably people that were. So my parents embarking on this relationship at a time was courageous and was an anomaly for that time. Now, you have to imagine having kids that were born into this environment. So we were a non-traditional looking family, especially when you get into the 70s and so on. We were a non-traditional looking family. So that is going to have a psychological effect on people. And the psychological effect that had on me and my sister, wherever she is, where are you? Okay, sorry. I know I embarrassed her at my dad's eulogy. I'm not gonna talk about the time he made you eat cigarettes because you caught you smoking. Sorry about that. I love you, sis. Were those cigarettes good? fact, I don't think she got to eat because they were slamming in her mouth. So I don't know if she wouldn't have had time to chew, but it was an effective teaching parent moment right there. Sure, any parents in here that ate cigarettes? No? Okay, well, you can ask my sister what they taste like. So looking at it now, I mean, those was an expensive snack. Cigarettes are expensive, so. Anyway, so sorry about that. I broke character. So we were judged unfairly as a family. We were looked upon as different. We were looked upon as subpar. You know, within our neighborhood, our community, people knew us, loved us, accepted us. You know, we were important people within our community, our neighborhood, but beyond that, we were not. So we were forced to make a point and prove ourselves to people. So there is 2 core values that my dad had for me. And this is true. You all have probably told you this within my teaching with you some point, directly or indirectly, and this is true. This is from my dad. So my dad would always kind of shoot first and then talk later. But these 2 core values have been pivotal for me. My dad had said to me, you know, you being black, you're gonna have to work 4 times as hard and be 4 times as good just to be on the same playing field. Now, Jen kind of touched upon this. Many of y'all in here are not black, but you come from a place where you all are being judged poorly and unfairly. So with that, within the program, that has been a chip on my shoulder from the time I took over, or probably the time I was a student here. So y'all have probably heard me say this to you and maybe didn't really realize where it has come from in what context. But that is a powerful statement for me. The other core value that he said to me, he says, you know, and you all feel this as a parent, so you in here, you will know this talk. And you may have said it to your kids or not, but I'm gonna say it to you now for them, because I cannot protect you from everything in this world. There are gonna be challenging things that I cannot protect you. The only thing I can do is make you tough and make you hard so that you can fight back and handle whatever life is going to give you. And those 2 core values have been at the core of my teaching, at the core of my parenting, really at the core of my existence. And you say, how come, Brown, you came in with this level of intensity? Because we're gonna be 4 times as good. We're gonna be 4 times better than the average person. We're gonna be 4 times better in Oakville. We're gonna be 4 times better in this. I don't care if we have uniforms. We are gonna wear, with the next year we had this whole show designed because we're gonna give all the kids shopping carts. After the hippie show, you all gonna do something. We're gonna give them all shopping carts and we're gonna play songs like Nobody Knows the Troubles I've Seen. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So I would have had you all hang out in Schnucks parking lot and get all the parking. So one of the best decisions of my life was marrying Jen. Yes, give her some yes. And just to set the record straight, we were not dating when she was in high school. I assure you, I had a skank. That's what she calls them. That's what she calls my past girlfriends. So I had a skank. I had a couple of skanks. Had them lined up. So we did not actually start dating to her junior year of college. So she was legal at that point. So. And the goal for us was to move back to Texas. I was going to move back to Texas, and we were going to be band directors in Texas. And Kennison was able to finagle and work it out. So she graduated. She came here. We got the job, and then we just ran forward. And I came here with the goal of being here for 5 years, and then I was going to go back to Texas. I never did. And selfishly, I was always musically nourished. I was always nourished in camaraderie, socially, and I had no desire to go back. Probably other decision that was our second best decision was our decision to have babies. And she was pregnant with twins before Eva. And the twins, she had a medical thing, and the twins they were delivered early, and they were delivered at like 20 weeks, which is a little early for babies to live, so they both died. And they're named Stella and Francesca. And they were buried in the cemetery there above my grandparents. Now, when I was a little disturbed when they dug the hole, because they were buried above my grandmother. And my grandmother was mean. So I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, girls. You can have your ear pulled, hand slapped. I'm sorry, but my grandpa was nice. He was probably too nice. So that second best decision, and then eventually Jen had to do 20 weeks of bed rest to bring Eva here. 10 of it in the hospital because she kept having preterm labor issues, and so we fought to get her here. In fact, we were playing at Tantera in 2008. We were playing at Tantera in 2008. She went into labor with Eva the week before we were going to depart. So we were in the hospital. It was Martin Luther King Day. We were in the hospital. We didn't have school that day. And we were in the hospital, and the doctor was like, hey, you might have this baby today. So luckily they were able to stop. And I'd come back to rehearse and come back to the hospital and came back and forth. And then Jen and I had to have an important talk. Because I was like, I have to go. I have to do this performance. And we didn't know at that point if Eva was gonna be born or not. And I said, we've spent too much money on this, we have too much invested. There's nobody that can do this. I'm the only person that can do this. So we have to go. And so that takes something to have a wife that says, I understand, you need to go. And that's something where you have a level of dedication to kids and people. So with her taking over the program, if any of you don't have any question on her level of dedication, her level of enthusiasm for the program, her level of love for the program, that explains it all. And I left. I left her in labor still, not knowing if that baby was gonna come. So we performed that concert. You all played beautifully. Was anybody in that concert? Some of y'all were. Yeah, I thought some of y'all were. Okay. So you all may not even know that was going on. Your job was just to play your butts off. Now, as soon as we finished, I got off stage and I called her and said, do I need to have my parents bring me back? And she said, no, they were able to stop the pregnancy. Okay. Okay, so I had a different role in this whole thing. So my role was relatively short. It was fun though. So what's it called? Labor, okay. So they're able to stop the labor. And Eva kept baking for another 10 weeks in the hospital. So at that point we came home and we had the all district, we were going to DC that year. And we were going to DC that year and we talked to the doctor. So she went back and did a checkup and like, hey, I'm gonna be out of town like next week for a band trip. Is there something we can do? And of course, the doctor that we had was kind of a high-risk pregnancy doctor. She's like, you people, I'm sick of you people. So they induced Jen, and she was in labor for 48 hours. She was in labor for 48 hours. Now, I was posted guard. I was there, I was posted guard. And I couldn't stay awake the whole time. But I think she did. So, once again, I did my part. I was there. So I managed to wake up when it was time for Eva to come. And but that has been an Eva being in the program, and it's tough being a band director's kid because you're not anonymous. People know who you are, and you have to be at a higher standard because people are going to judge you just from you being, especially my kid, because I don't always handle a lot of the other teachers in our building very politically. In fact, if there's somebody who's a jerk, I pretty much will tell them they're a jerk, especially if they're messing with the program. I'm okay severing a relationship, a friendship, if they're going to mess with the program. It matters nothing to me. So, and I've done some of that. But this has been my life having Eva in band. In practice, it probably kept me teaching for more years because after COVID, I was very sad. I was very angry where we were, where the program was. It killed me. It hurt me. And when we came back, I taught with a vengeance to the same level of what we had when I first took over as the head director. I can tell you all this. The Mehlville band program is in good hands. You know, Jen, Nick, and Emily and Jesse are going to do a great job, and then another person who's anonymous because they haven't been voted on yet. But that person is going to be amazing. So it's going to continue to thrive. It's going to continue to prove. And the Mehlville band has been a large part of my life. And when you look upon it and you reflect on this, say, okay, how would you want it to be remembered in this program? So if you can paint the narrative, what would you like to be? And this is my narrative. So I have dedicated a large portion of my life trying to find ways of making lives better of the people around me. We just happen to be doing music. I may not have been perfect, but I've always been honest and loyal, and I've always been willing to give 110% to our kids and families every day. I can't tell you all, thank you for the memories. Thank you for the honor. And thank you for the joy of being your band director. So thank you all. Thank you. So, sorry, we were trying to be finished by 8. I think, was my speech shorter than normal? Because I wasn't on script, so I don't know how long it was. Oh, it's 40, well that's good. Or was it 45? So, what we envisioned tonight, there's no more program. I just wanted you guys to enjoy the band. And if there's some of y'all that know how to dance, then, I want you all to do that. If you guys know Kazimu, who works with our trumpets, through bingo, we bring in folks to work with us, and Kazimu works with our trumpets and has done a great job. He's also a local pro, and I think you guys are going to enjoy what you're going to hear. So enjoy the rest of the night. Thank you all.
sheep fly, and